Welcome home, neighbors.
Welcome home, neighbors.
Hello, neighbors.
We're listening from
Arizona,
Florida,
Maryland, New York, New Jersey,
Indianapolis,
California,
Utah,
Michigan,
Iowa, Massachusetts,
Georgia, Canada,
our home resort is
Animal Kingdom,
Polynesia,
Bay Lake Tower,
Old Key West,
Riviera,
Boardwalk,
Alani Resort,
Hilton Head,
Boulder Ridge,
Copper Creek,
Grand Floridian,
Saratoga Springs,
Beach Club,
and Wilderness Lodge.
and you're listening to
and you're listening
You're listening to my
Well, welcome home, everybody, to the December 13th show of My DVC Points Community Hall Live. So my name is Chad. I am your host tonight, and I am looking forward to coming back in and leading this conversation tonight about the best and worst grand villas. And before we get started, I'd like to do a quick shout out to our sponsor over at Monera Financial. And if you are looking to buy a DVC contract and you need some financing, or if you've already financed through Disney and you're paying more than 9.9%, seriously head over to monerafinancial.com. Look into their refinance program. We have helped listeners save hundreds of thousands of dollars. I kid you not, by refinancing down to a lower interest rate. And that just frees up more vacation dollars that you can have and a little bit better, nicer vacations. And it's kind of a smart thing to do. Save a little money on interest if you can. monerafinancial.com. Let them know you heard about them here on the My DVC Points podcast. So I would like to welcome back to the show some of our regular co-hosts. And so let's start off with Alicia. Hey, Alicia, how you doing tonight?
Oh, thrilled to be here. Good to see you, Chad.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back here to get your take on some of this Grand Villa and standalone
These
action
are my
tonight.
dreams. I love them so much.
I'm telling you, and let's welcome back our other regular co-host and the DVC newscast host, Jake Anthony. How you doing tonight, Jake?
I'm doing well. Howdy, folks. And I'm excited to talk about the biggest splurge of all, a grand villa. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's definitely on the top of the splurge charts. And so it has been way too long since we have had Mr. Andrew Darden on the show. And I would like to welcome you back, Andrew. And
I'm very glad to be here. And I've missed being on the show, but I've survived this year by watching the shows each week.
Awesome. And Andrew, you've given us so much here in this community that it's not funny. You've made us all cry with your daddy-daughter stories, and you gave us the term "blop house" for a DVC studio. So
I was thinking about that just the other day, how you laugh at me for that one.
Oh yeah, that one's kind of funny action as well. And so let me welcome to the show as well, brand new person here. So I'd like to welcome Cecilia to the show. How you doing today, Cecilia?
I'm doing well. Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot to ask. Andrew, where's your home resort now? And how long you been a member?
We have been members since 2008, and we are now only members at Old Key West. This past year, we gave my daughter the opportunity to either take the money that we have saved for her to go to college and her have to pay for any loans and such she has, or sell DVC and not go with us, mom and dad alone, empty nesters, and not have to pay any loans when she gets out of college. So she said, let's just sell those contracts because I don't want to pay for it. So it worked out really well. We were members at Animal Kingdom Lodge, Boulder Ridge, and that's not me, and at Copper Creek.
Awesome. So, Cecilia, if you're not answering the phone there.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry.
Where's your home resorts and how long have you been a member?
Bay Lake Tower. And we actually joined when they opened.
Okay. So you're an original Bay Lake Tower owner.
Yes.
So that puts you, 2010-ish?
Yes.
2009, someplace in there?
I think it was, we started the contract in 2009. So when they opened, we were like members. We were staying at the Contemporary, and we said, we're only going to see what it looks like. We're not becoming members.
Famous
and it was
last
on the
words.
31st, and then all of a sudden during the tour, they said the countdown. You have certain amount, if you're staying in the park, you have to go to the park quickly before we close the doors, blah, blah, blah. And we like, where we sign?
Awesome.
And that's how we joined.
Awesome. Okay, so let's welcome as well our other community member co-host for tonight, and that's Kimberly. So, hey, Kimberly, how you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Kimberly, where is your home resorts, and how long have you been a member?
Okay, we have two home resorts. Our first home resort is Animal Kingdom, Kidani, and we became members in 2017. And then about 2 years later, in 2019, we bought Copper Creek.
Awesome. I know Kidani is like one of my wife's favorite resorts, and I love Copper Creek. So, and I own some Bay Lake as well. I think I own more Bay Lake than about anything else. So I'm pretty happy with the Bay Lake contracts, and I'm keeping those. So
Glad to know that. I'll swap some points with you sometime.
there you go. Right. Well, I think a lot of people are going to be asking too after we start talking about these grand villas tonight. Yeah. So we'll start off with our first question tonight is what criteria do you use to determine the best grand villas or the best standalone units? We say standalone units, there's only 4 of them, but we didn't want to leave them out of this conversation. And if you go back 2 weeks, we did studios 2 weeks ago. And then last week we did 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. So this week we're on grand villas. And so we want to put those 4 standalone units, and they are the bungalows, the cabins, the beach cottages over at Vero, and then the tree houses at Saratoga. So what do you guys think are the criteria to determine the best ones? Alicia, any thoughts here?
Yeah. So for me, I'm thinking of what I would be doing to have these like amazing spaces. And for me, it's celebrating. Celebration times. We dream, my daughter and I all day at the pool dreamed of what would we celebrate. So for me, criteria would be location for a group, like lots of people to be like do things together. So to be able to, that's hard when you're with a lot of people to move a herd from one park or one restaurant or one pool, even how to get them from place to place. So for me, having a lot of things in the area would be high on my list to determine what is the best for me.
Okay. Jake, what are you thinking here?
So I'm going to go with point value because we hear a lot of stories of members banking and borrowing to make these vacations actually happen. So you want to make sure you're getting the best bang for your buck. Location and room view, because if you're forking out that much point or cash, you want to make sure you're getting a really nice view. And most of these grand villas and standalones have pretty spectacular views. So you can't really go wrong there.
Got it. Andrew, what do you use for criteria here?
If you're talking criteria for a grand villa, we have only stayed in the ones at Old Key West twice. Once because we had a surplus of points one year, and we had 6 people, and everybody got their own bed, which was great. The other criteria is we typically, like Alicia said, someplace to celebrate. And the ones at the grand villas at Old Key West, they are perfect for big celebrations. We had 18 people in there in December of 2018, and we had some friends from the Orlando area that live there. They came in and joined us, and we had a big Christmas party. We got ham and turkey from the Publix grocery stores in the area, and we fixed all the fixings. And with a huge kitchen, you had plenty of prep space to make the dinner. The dining room tables seated 12. And they had an extra room in the another table in the living room that sat another 4. We used that as a kids' table, but it was a great time.
Okay.
And then we did a split stay from there over to the Cascade Cabins.
Got it. Cecilia, what are you thinking are criteria for best grand villas?
For us, space and location. That the location offers several things that we like: access to the monorail, access to other things that we're going to do, that we don't have to spend a lot of time like in a bus, right? So space is really important because we're usually between 8 and 10 of us. Okay. And after a day of the park of everybody together, when it comes down to going to the hotel, we want our own little space.
Got it. Yeah. Want some elbow room. Kimberly, what are you thinking here?
I think when we decide what vacation we're going to do, we're looking at experience, something that we haven't done before. So we have stayed at the Grand Floridian 3-bedroom Grand Villa. We have stayed at Old Key West Grand Villa, and we have stayed at Copper Creek. And we stay at Copper Creek Cabins because that's our home resort. And it is smaller. I believe it only allows up to 8 people. Whereas And most of the other Grand Villas, I believe, you can book up to 12. So we just, when we stayed at the Grand Floridian Grand Villa, it was awesome. We had just bought Copper Creek, so we had previous points. We had bought 250 new contract points. So we had 750 points at one time, plus our other contract. So we booked the 5-day stay, and it was awesome. So it all depends on what our point value. And
Okay, so point value, location, where you want to go. For me, I look at this and I go, I've stayed Copper Creek, I've stayed Animal Kingdom Kidani, I have been through Rivieras, I've been through a lot of the Grand Villas, and for me, it's all about the gathering location. Okay, if you think Grand Villa, Disney used to have these things called Grand Gatherings. Okay, was something you could book if you had, I think, 8 or more people. And so to me, it's all about the grand gatherings at the Grand Villas. So I am most concerned with the common areas, right? The bedrooms, not so much, but I want everybody to come together and be able to hang out together and have a good kitchen space, a good meal space, a good community space, a good chill and watch TV, or make them all watch my favorite channel, which is the WDW Today channel. That is
always playing in the background.
Yeah, always. Like, my kids want to watch cartoons. No. It's my favorite channel. Go to bedroom. Right. So I'm just like, for me, it's about the gathering space. Okay. And then if I can get a nice view, that's pretty decent. But I'm kind of with Cecilia. I kind of like the proximity and location to things. Okay. And that's kind of my criteria that we do this. So let's move on to the next question then and go, what do you guys consider to be the best Grand Villas out there? Alicia, any thoughts here?
Oh man. Okay. The best Grand Villa, not standalone, correct? Okay. So I'm going to go best Grand Villa in my head, right? So we've already got it planned out. We've toured quite a few of them, not all of them, but quite a few of them. And the one that stands out in my daughter and I's and my husband's is the 3-bedroom at Riviera. I just think like that would be super swanky. That living room area is enormous. The kitchen is, I'm remodeling my home kitchen after this kitchen, and it just feels like when you walk in, it was fancy, and we would want to go as being, all of our cute little dresses. We can go to the rooftop bar and have cocktails. We can hop on the Skyliner and go out for cocktails and not have to drive anywhere, just totally taken care of. And that's what I would want to feel like in the best Grand Villa from what we saw. Okay.
Sounds awesome. You're digging the the grandeur of it, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, It feels like, we're ritzy there. So that makes it nice.
That is a key element here. And I'm going to pick that up a little bit later. Jake, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go with the underdog here and say a Saratoga Springs remodeled 3-bedroom for a couple of reasons. Number one, point value. The value is really good compared to some other Grand Villas. You can probably save a significant amount with going with either Saratoga or Old Key West. And for me personally, I go every other month, every third month. If I'm going to splurge on a Grand Villa, I'm probably not going to go to the parks at all that trip and just spend all my time in the room. So being at Saratoga, away from the parks and close to Disney Springs, that is perfect for me. So I'd probably go with that one.
Okay, and you're going to pick Saratoga over Old Key West then? Because
I will.
You're going to pay about
like
40% more at Saratoga.
Yeah, simply because I live in Florida. So Old Key West is not my favorite resort because of the ambiance, just because I live here. Saratoga Springs is something I can't get here at home. And I like how it's a little more, Victorian. So similar to the Grand Floridian, that kind of style in the room.
And if you wanted to walk, you could walk to downtown or to Disney Springs.
Yeah, you can walk there. If I'm spending money on a Grand Villa, I am not stepping foot in a theme park. Not at all.
And Andrew, what's your thoughts here for the best Grand Villa?
Well, I'm kind of biased to Old Key West Grand Villas because those are the only ones we've stayed in, but we have toured, we've seen the other ones, and room view for us is not a big deal when it comes to a Grand Villa. We just want the space for the gathering and the celebrations that we do. And point value is there as well.
Oh, you can't beat the point value over Old Key West. That's just like untouchable.
For none of their rooms.
Yeah, that's just untouchable at Old Key West. Cecilia, what do you think has the best Grand Villa in all of DVC?
Okay, so we stayed at the Grand Villa Bay Lake Tower, the Grand Villa at Boardwalk, and the Polynesian Bungalow. And I've got to say, the Bungalow. There is
Oh.
nothing more special than having coffee or breakfast over the water in your little private patio. And at night, after going to the park, just wanting to relax, everybody's just like in the plunge pool, enjoying the beautiful Seven Seas Lagoon, the view of the Magic Kingdom. I mean, it's amazing. And like Andrew said, next time we go to the bungalows, we've decided we're not going to go to the park because you're like a vacation when you're in the bungalow. So you're like in a Polynesian vacation. So if you do the park, you're having two vacations, the park and a Polynesian vacation, but it is
I can
amazing.
tell
Yeah.
Twilight
it's an amazing
That's the name
experience.
of the takeout meal from Ohana that they'll bring at room service. I'm like, hit me. Like, roll it on in, guys. Okay.
Cecilia may change her mind if she ever stays in a Cascade cabin.
So
Really?
Points
yeah,
and lower.
that's
Okay.
that's
We
kind
better
of
try that.
that's kind of true, right?
Okay.
Kimberly, what are you thinking for the best Grand Villa here?
Well, if you were to ask my children, they would say the Grand Floridian. And I think they said that because we went during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party and we had room service brought in and they laid it all out on the table for us. They buttered our bread, they toasted everything for us. They made sure we were just taken care of.
Welcome to Disney.
Yeah, it was awesome. But if you ask me, well, also the Grand Floridian has a media room. So we got to, watch movies. You have a TV in the living room, but then you also have the media room. So that was kind of special. But if you were to ask me, it's kind of hard because we've stayed at Copper Creek, the Cascade Cabins, and they are awesome. And we've stayed there a couple of times. And they have the fireplace, they have the hot tub.
Oh,
and,
the hot tub's amazing.
And we watch the electric parade at night, and we can see the fireworks at night. And they have the music piped in, so you can actually hear it while you're soaking and
out on the patio.
Everything. So it's really hard to say, but we're planning on staying at Animal Kingdom Jumbo House, 3-bedroom Grand Villa, and they have a pool table. So you have to take it, determine what kind of vacation you want to experience and roll with it.
That sounds awesome. If I'm just going pure Grand Villas, I've stayed at Copper Creek, and that place is just enormous. Okay. Mm-hmm. I absolutely positively love that. I love the meeting room table that they have there. It's like it's a boardroom table, not a dining room table, because it's massive. It seats 12 plus people. It just feels grand and opulent.
Right.
And weren't those actually converted in the lodge from presidential and or honeymoon suites or something like that? Bridal suites?
They're all at the end caps over there at Copper Creek. So they all 4 of them have a view over at Seven Seas Lagoon, looking out, and you kind of got some trees in the way as well, depending. You can but it adds to it, right? Mm-hmm. It certainly adds to it. So Copper Creek is probably the highest on my list because it's about the sweet spot in the point charts, but I haven't made it over to Old Key West yet. And I have extensively done all this research on them through the My DVC Points wiki. I have a 3D walkthrough at all the rooms up there. Yeah, and we've also got a curated YouTube videos there. So I had to watch 50 million videos there to figure out what the best ones were.
But I do love
1,400 square feet is bigger than my first house.
Yeah. But those Copper Creek 3 bedrooms, what they have over the Old Key West is your transportation to the Magic Kingdom. You have nightlife and great restaurants. And if you're going with a group and you're splurging and if you cook, great. But if you don't want to cook for all these people, they have options. Go get their own food.
Oh yeah. The mug refill is straight downstairs, right out the door. Okay. You've got Geyser Point right down there at the boats. It's
the lighted parade.
Yeah, it's magical. Okay. Old Key West is on my list. Well, actually, they're all on my list. I'm who am I kidding? Okay. They will eventually all
make the round.
Right? It will just be time. The other one that I'm really looking forward to trying out is Boardwalk, because what I've determined after staying in a couple of these, I love them all on the same level. I'm not a huge fan of the bi-level Grand Villas. simply just, I like them all on the same level.
Okay.
And you get that over at Boardwalk, you get that over at Grand Flow, you get that over at Riviera. And yeah, so that's kind of the top there for best Grand Villa for me.
Bay Lake and Kidani are the two that are multi-level, right?
Yes, Bay Lake certainly is. Kidani is. Old Key West is.
I think Saratoga is as well.
And Saratoga is as well.
Saratoga.
Okay.
So there's 4 of them that are by level. And
that
I have
would be
like,
hard if you have
I have
any
like-
handicap.
yeah, I have like no interest in coming back in and staying at a Saratoga one. Like absolutely positively none. I don't know why. Like I don't know why. I still own points there. I just don't know why. But looking at some of the viewer comments here as well, Scott earlier said room view and location with lots of activities at the resort is important to him. Kevin says Copper Creek, it would be his best Grand Villa. And then Elizabeth saying she wants to check out the pool table and Animal Kingdom Jumbo. That looks amazing as well. And then Lori is chiming in that Poly Bungalow would be so cool.
Yes,
I love
it is.
Yes. I love the view on the porch. And yeah, I got sold on that during our Bibbidi Bobbidi Bougie and the Bungalows episode that we did on the podcast where I talked with 3 people who had stayed there. And yeah, I would have done it during COVID with all this excess points, but I just don't feel like I'm going to get my point value there if I can't get that nighttime fireworks show from the deck out there.
That's true.
So
yeah, and if you're working on point value, back again, anybody that's got less than 300 points, if you can bank and or borrow, then the Old Key West Grand Villa is definitely your best value.
yeah, or if you can make it in over at the beach cottages at Vero, okay.
True, I have not.
Those things
That's
are
one
pretty,
resort I haven't
those
stayed
things,
at.
Those things are pretty reasonable on the point charts.
Other than
Okay.
Riviera, that's the one DVC resort I haven't stayed at.
Yes. Scott was saying that the Grand Villas he would prefer is the one at Riviera. And if he went standalone, it would be bungalows at Poly. And then another vote here for Riviera Villas from Elizabeth. And then Bruce just says, hey, with 125 points, I'm never going to stay at a Grand Villa, a cabin, or a bungalow. The tree houses are the only one I would be able to do. And the beach cottages are also within reach. And if you pick your season right, maybe Old Key West there, Bruce. Maybe Old Key West, because that can get pretty affordable on if you go in the September time on weekdays. So
With Bruce's comment, sounds like he needs add-on items.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Get what you can afford.
Yeah. Buy what you can reasonably afford. That's what we always end up saying. Okay.
And you never know. You can always cash pay and splurge for that one celebration that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rent
points.
Yeah.
And then, Amy was saying that the Hilton Head Grand Villas are 27 points a night in January. So there you go. Like,
I don't know what I'm doing in January 2022.
Yeah, there you go.
Where's my point charts?
I thought 6 points a night was pretty cheap for the studio. So
yeah,
I'm going to have to go check one of those out while I'm there next month as well. So moving on to our next one, what's the best standalone unit that you guys think is out there? Well, remember, we've only got 4. You've got bungalows, you've got cabins, you've got tree houses, and you've got the Copper Creek cabins, I think, right? Isn't that the 4 of them? And I'll lead this one off. I've stayed at the tree houses a few times. My kids absolutely love it. I think they're more in love with the bunk beds that are in there than anything else. But I've stayed there, and I think they're a phenomenal value if you just need a 3rd bedroom door. Okay, everything's really tight, really tiny. But if you've got a bunch of kids with you and you can use them in the bunk bedroom and you don't mind giving up a king size bed, those are really, really attractive on the point charts. Okay. Alicia, what's your thoughts here?
All right. So ours, mine has got to be Copper Creek. Like, just period, done. I love the setup. I could live in that house if I could just copy the whole floor plan. That's my retirement house. Like, everything from the little hot tub outside, and you've got them where we'll get into that later, where we're at, but there's a lot of things that you can see from there and experience. And I didn't have to leave. Like, I didn't feel like, well, okay, it's a house. every couple hours, every couple minutes, there was a moment of Disney going right past our front door from the little boats and the monorail going by. And, it just was fantastic. So those are my super uber favorite.
Awesome. Jake, what are you going for best standalone unit?
So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Vero Beach Cottages, just because I'm a big value fan. I think you get an excellent value on the point charts compared to some other standalones. And living in Miami, I know how much it costs to have a hotel on the water, or sort of renting a house on Verbo, or that's what it's called, on the water. And this is also a great value compared to those as well. You can save a lot of money. So Vero Beach it is.
Vero Beach. Andrew, where are you going?
Definitely with Alicia on this one. The Cascade Cabins at Copper Creek. We did a 4-night stay there in December of 2018 with our neighbors, and I was parking the car in that separate little parking area set aside down near 8026, which is the one furthest towards the Disney's Fort Wilderness campground. And it's nice to have that. And as I was walking back, my daughter and our neighbor's daughter came running up to us, like, "Hey, can we live here?" They were just so excited about it. They got out the cameras and they were taking videos and shooting pictures of all kinds of stuff. And when we were there, it was raining so hard one day, you couldn't even see the Contemporary Resort across the lake. But it was so nice at night because you can sit out there and you turn the music off and just listen. You hear the frogs and you can hear the alligators croaking out there too. And it's
now,
just
are they real ones or are they piped in ones?
They are real, because you can turn the volume down on the speakers. There's no speakers out there around them, but it's out there right
the
by
cricket
itself.
sounds and all that I know are piped in. Okay, but the
if you sit
alligator
there-
burping,
you can hear it. You can hear it. But then the electric water parade came right past us out there. And it's like you're really out there in the wilderness when you're at one of those cabins. And my wife has asked me several times, can we please get the blueprints to that so we can build one on our land someplace? I was like, yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah,
But it's great.
right?
Yeah.
In the blueprint.
The only thing that I see wrong with those is there's no ceiling fans in the bedrooms. That's it. The rest of it is phenomenal.
I'm a cold-blooded person. I'm good. Turn on the fireplace.
There you go. Cecilia, what are you thinking for best standalone unit?
I gotta go with the bungalows again. The Polynesian like bungalows. I mean, it's spacious, very comfortable. You could be sitting in the living room and you have this panoramic view of the Seven Seas Lagoon, everything that's going on. When the jet skis are going, when the boats are going, you can see the ferry going back and forth. I mean, you just don't get bored, and the kitchen is large, so you can be in the kitchen and you still have like this wonderful view, and the deck just goes all around the bungalow. It has its own kind of private entrance, like to access them. So I mean, it has everything, and the beach, the Polynesian beach, is right there. So it's really nice, and you got the volleyball. I mean, for us, it just has everything.
Awesome. Kimberly, what are you thinking for best standalone unit?
Well, I think the Copper Creek cabins are the best. The reason why is when we were there, we also experienced going fishing on the lake. So we would wake up early in the morning and take the kids down to the pontoon boat meet our guide and go fishing. And then we come back in the evening, we get to do the marshmallows and over the campfire. And we also have done where the kids have danced at the pool with the characters, and we have done tie-dye t-shirts, and they have a lot of neat activities, and it's very relaxing. I would say that it is a different experience at every resort that you go to. And we just love the relaxing atmosphere at the
there you go.
Creek.
There you go.
And on a side note, we have stayed in cabin 8026, and there's an owl that is up in the tree. So if you listen to it at night, you can actually hear the owl.
It must have moved in the past couple of years because we didn't hear that. Was it a hoot owl?
It is a real owl. We stayed last year when
we stayed at
October
8:10, and from the hot tub, we could watch the monorail go by and the fireworks from the middle of the hot tub.
Yeah, you like to be in the middle of everything. We like to be way out there away from everybody.
What do you mean? I like to be on show. I don't know what.
I think I stayed at 8023, so I was like 3 down from you guys at the cabins.
Yeah.
And so they assigned me like 804 when I moved in. And I asked to move down to the other side because I wanted to stay on the left side towards Bay Lake Tower when fireworks were going on. Because I've heard everybody's stories about all these amazing fireworks. And I was like, well, if I'm going to come when there's no fireworks, put me down at this side where I can be down at Andrew's side, and we'll pick the other side up on the next visit. So that's kind of how I handled that one as well.
Yeah. Izzy waved at she talked to the boats as they went by, everyone. Because we
Yeah,
didn't
I feel
leave
like
the
I'm in
cabin.
a fishbowl when I do that.
Oh, no. You go to those cabins, like, I think we were there 3 nights, and between the 5 of us, we clocked at least 50 hours into the hot tub. Okay.
Yes.
It was
Oh,
just,
those are nice. Those are
it
fun.
was just nobody was leaving. Okay.
That and Grand Villas, like Jake said, you just park yourself in there and just stay, because that's a destination within itself.
We were
Right.
squatting.
Yeah.
Get
Now-
Alicia another margarita, she'll be happy.
That's actually how they got us to sign on again, as to buying more points by showing us the cabins, because we already had points. But we signed up to see a tour, and when we saw the tour of the cabin, my husband said, "Okay, you can buy more
Aw.
points."
Nice. The cabin deal closer. Now, this is a little off script, but Cecilia, you stayed in Bay Lake Tower. So are you team Lakeview or team Magic Kingdom View?
It's the family is split. So half like Magic Kingdom, half like Lakeview. I personally like Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
That's
Because
me
I know
personally.
I'm planning on like July 3rd and 4th of 2022,
Mhm.
11-month booking the Magic Kingdom View rooms. Okay.
You gotta then.
Okay.
I mean, hopefully the fireworks.
Yeah,
stuff
for those
then.
killer fireworks
Yeah.
shows.
Oh
And,
my
we're
gosh,
definitely going to be
yes.
having like a listener meetup there as well. Because I mean, Pete said to invite him if anybody does. We'll definitely have you over, Pete, and and do a couple of nights there.
Here's my recommendation on that. If you're going to Disney World and you're going to spend a lot of time in the parks, don't worry so much about the view, because you're not going to spend a lot of time out there looking.
Right.
If you're planning on not going to the parks very much, then yes, Magic Kingdom View is very much worth it, because you can still be part of it without having to actually go into the park.
Mhm.
That's the way we look at it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it, getting the Magic Kingdom View for the 2 glorious over-the-top firework nights.
Yes.
Okay.
You'll love it.
And then
You'll
I'll
love
move
it.
over to my old Key West, where I can kind of like make up for the point splurge that I did on that Grand Villa is kind of the deal. And I've also strategically waited until July 3rd and 4th, both fall on a weekday, not a weekend.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Save the money.
Nice.
Save points there.
Hey,
Yeah,
weekday
'cause the last
pricing.
couple of years we've been 3rd and 4th have been hitting the weekends, or at least one of the 2 days or 2 of the 2. And
Mhm.
like, no. I need this to be on a weekday. So
You'll love it.
yeah. And then Getaways, Angela's sitting here saying Copper Creek Cabin versus Copper Creek Grand Villas, pros or cons. What does the team think? If you
Well,
need this, yeah,
It's the difference between 3 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms,
yeah.
and 8 people or 12 people. That's the first thing to look at.
Well, I'm going to tell you it's the difference between 5 people and 12 people.
That's
Because-
where I'm going to. Yeah.
8 people in those cabins are a little bit tight. Okay.
You got a king, 1 queen, and
I-
a sleeper chair, and a queen sofa, or a double sofa. Double sofa folds out.
Yeah, I'd say if you were entertaining and doing like Thanksgiving dinner and having like 2-3 families or something like that, then it's the Grand Villa. But
Yeah.
just me and my 4 kids, we're good. Like we don't need to share in the cabin space. It just felt like home.
Got it. Yeah. So that's kind of how I'm going to answer that question as well. Is I'm going to come back in and say, if you're more than 5, just go Grand Villa. Okay. You won't get the hot tub, but man, is it nice. They're both very nice and opulent, but with 5 of us in the cabins, that was at capacity. Okay?
We were fine at 6, and we've got teenagers. It was fine. It just depends if you all like each other.
Well, your family gets along.
Look, how many
pretty well,
margaritas Mama
right?
had?
So,
We can squish pretty good. So.
yeah. My 2 little ones are like, constant.
You had 2 beds for them.
Yeah,
Just
I
like a
get it,
bed
but
and a pool
it's yeah, still right.
and a couch and a chair. And
Yeah.
you could even put a kid on a picnic table. They're fine.
Just throw them on a picnic table. That's what Alicia
Hey,
did, right?
they get free trips to Disney. They can suck it up. You
I
know?
was happy as he didn't sleep in the hot tub. So we were
That would be interesting.
There you go. I mean, parenting advice from Alicia. Don't let the kids sleep in the hot tub.
that's you can tell my bar. By
Picnic
the fourth
table is
kid-
kosher, but not the hot tub.
Right.
Okay.
That's great.
Right. In all fairness, the picnic table is fully enclosed. You'd have to break out the little emergency screen thing to go out. And I'm
So they're
surprised
safe.
my kids didn't go, hey, let me play with this door. And I'm like,
Yeah, and that is a good thing to note that most people may not know is that the porches, the patios on the cabins are screened in porches.
Mhm.
Totally.
And the hot tub is also like separate out. So you have to go through a separate gate to get into the hot tub area if you have littles.
But it is inside of the screened in porch.
yeah. Yep. And so Sam is sitting here saying, all right, Alicia, time to put the wine down.
I promise I'm not drinking tonight. I have too much Friday. I promise.
Oh, okay then.
Everybody loves Alicia.
There you go. So what do you guys think is the worst or the least desirable aspects out here? If we had to tell people, we're talking about the Grand Villas. It's supposed to be the best that Disney has.
That was a
What-
hard question.
What are you thinking of in the audience as well? What's your experiences? What have you guys thought of? What would be the worst or least desirable here?
All right.
Alicia,
So
I'm going to pick on you again first.
I'm ready. I'm ready for this one because this
Okay.
is the one I know most. So, because we dream, we splurge. Like, what are you going to do for all of my kids' high school senior trip? Like, and Drew has chosen. I love my little beach boy. Drew has chosen Alani. Like, he wants to go to Hawaii, and we're looking at the amazing. How do you splurge in Alani? The 3-bedroom in Alani is so expensive. Why is that one? Like, I just don't get it. I'm like, I get it being like 20 points more, but it's like so many more points than any other place. So that's where I'm like, ugh, I'm kind of disappointed that it is so expensive. You could buy like all these, everybody could have their own room separate for the same price of that.
You could get two bedrooms, and that's usually the case with Grand Villas. You can usually get two bedrooms for the cost of one Grand Villa.
So it's just way too out of my price range.
So you're thinking the least desirable would be Alani just due to the point charts.
The Alani 3-bedroom. Like, I think if I would, even though we're going to go and splurge, we're going to go to Alani, but I don't think I would be able to splurge him to a 3-bedroom.
Compared to the rack rate for that same room, believe me, it is worth the splurge.
Got it. Okay. So Jake, what are you thinking here would be the worst or the least desirable or the least desirable value, or however you want to slice this up?
Oh man, do I have to answer this one? But let's go with. I'm gonna go with Riviera again. I just think it's very overpriced. Everything in that resort, from studios all the way to Grand Villas, just a lot more points. And I don't feel you're getting the best value there, just because the location is not as good. You're not walking distance you're not even walking distance to Disney Springs. At least at Saratoga, you have that going for you. So that's why I gotta give it to Riviera.
Got it. Whew, I don't know if I can go there, man. That's a pretty nice opulent pad. So, Andrew, what are you thinking?
Well, again, the only one we stayed in is Old Key West. But in my opinion, if you're in a building that's near Bonnet Creek Parkway or Buena Vista Drive, you can really hear a lot of road noise during the middle of the day out on the patio out there. That's the only non-desirable part of it that I don't like. The rest of it is phenomenal. All the views are either a greenway from the golf course or a water view or something of the sort. It's just a beautiful resort. I can't speak for any of the other ones, but I would not. I'm kind of like Alicia. I look at the point costs and say, if I'm going to do a Grand Villa, I'm going to Old Key West because it's bigger, it's nicer, it just fits our budget every time.
Got it. Okay. So, Cecilia, what are you thinking is the least desirable or worst here?
This was a question I didn't want to answer, but I will. So basically, I think the ones that we stayed have all been really nice, but the least desirable is the Boardwalk Grand Villas for us. Even though It averages 2,440 square feet. The kitchen is surprisingly small for a grand villa.
Okay.
The layout looks very compact. It still has every bedroom has a balcony and all that, but it looks kind of compact. When we were in there, we were 8 of us, and the kitchen was just like small, and you can hear everything in the hallway. So you were literally walking in the hallway, and you could hear people talking in their rooms, and I was like. So if you have kids, I'm sure you have to go, shh, kind of like be quiet, like when it's late at night and so forth. But I've got to say the Boardwalk 3-bedroom grand villa. Ooh, I hate saying that.
Man, that's shocking. You're making me rethink that bucket list item, but
Yep.
okay.
I mean, great view though.
Yeah.
I do think that it would be hard, like you said, for a family. But if you were going there for a different purpose, like let's say as a bachelorette party or something, and you were all going to just walk down to, and you weren't worried about cooking, then that might be helpful. But yeah, if you have family, that might not be the.
And the ambient is so sedated. This is so calm and and we're like, So no.
And bachelorette parties might need that. So
yes.
Especially if they invite Alicia, okay? Kimberly, any worst or least desirable aspects here to talk about?
Well, I know a lot of people might disagree with me, but Old Key West was our least favorite so far. And the reason being is you have to walk up steps to get to the second floor. And if you're a family with young children, you're going to have to make multiple trips to get up and down, up and down. But it is still a nice grand villa. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's very spacious, and you have the nice view with the stock pond and the golf greens and stuff. But that was our least favorite because of that reason.
Yeah, that's a good point. And not even all the buildings have a elevator in them. So you could be on a grand villa at Old Key West and not have elevator access at all. Which 12 people, you're going to have a lot of stuff and a lot of food to be hauling up and down. And then if somebody's in a scooter or a wheelchair, that's an issue as well. So I could see how that could rank highly on the least desirable list.
Right. And there's one more thing I want to point out. As you're going up the steps, there's like 3 tiered shelves. And my 5-year-old just wanted to climb all over them. So if I was in a bedroom, I had to make sure that one of my older children was watching him because we had to pull him down this past weekend from climbing on the shelf. So it's kind of a dangerous thing. I wish they would remodel that area.
Yeah, years ago, they used to have large potted plants on there, but people kept knocking them off. So they took all the potted plants off, and now there's just that shelf.
Kid trying to be Spider-Man up the shelves. That's what mine would be doing. You see him with the little web things, right? That would be my kid.
But if you're not traveling with young children, I'm sure it's not a problem.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're not traveling with young children at Disney, are you really even doing it right? Because
hey, you got to be an empty nester.
I'm telling you, right? One of these days, Andrew. One of these days.
Yeah.
For me, this experience was really shocking, okay? Because I had looked forward to going to the Kidani Grand Villas like you wouldn't believe. Like, I mean, I was like geeked and jazzed and looking forward to it. And I was in there last November. And for us, it was just like, man, the kitchen is not quite big enough. The dining room table only sat 8 for a grand villa of 12.
Wow.
And that was hugely disappointing. And then the fit and finish of the grand villa was just a normal 2-bedroom Kidani room, double stacked. It didn't have that like opulent, to me, like the center room with the double high window didn't really check it off the list for me for being opulent. Now, the view of the savannah from there, phenomenal. Okay. And I would argue we probably had the best grand villa out there because we were the room right next door to the elevators when you're on the right side of Sanaa when you're coming in. So if the lobby's on your left, you go to the right and you go up those elevators and we're right there. So we probably had the best grand villa they have to offer. But to me, it was just disappointing because it was just like a big 2-bedroom. I didn't really see anything grandeur about it. And
Yeah, you got spoiled by the conversion at Copper Creek.
I did. I got spoiled by Copper Creek, the year before.
And the cabins. Yeah.
And the cabins. Okay.
Well, what I mean is they took the presidential suites or the bridal suites or whatever it was that was at Wilderness Lodge and converted it into rooms for Copper Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And they were much bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I compare it to like, going through any of the other grand villas, like at Grand Flow over at Riviera. They just have this opulent fit and finish. And so to me, I was missing that. Okay.
And you mentioned something just a second ago that made me think. The splash screen that you've got for this particular broadcast shows the kitchen table or the dining room table in Old Key West Grand Villa. And there's only 8 chairs. Or actually 6, if I remember that picture correctly. The Grand Villas at Old Key West when we were there, had a table that sat 12 people. If they've refurbed and changed that, I'd be very interested to find out.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to go through the walkthrough on the My DVC points and see what was there at the last time they did a camera shoot there. And so, okay, coming over to some of the crowd comments here. Scott says, least desirable Saratoga Springs. The resort is always last on the list for a place to stay for him. Saratoga, the resort of last resort.
Yeah, that's why us veteran DVC members call it the slums.
Yeah, sorry. We don't do that here, but
no, I think that they have a purpose, especially
I'm
if
sure
you want
they
do.
Andrew, I'm going to have to create a new pop-up funny video for not the slums. So
Saratoga's got a lot going for it. I got it now
especially with the refurbs. Yes.
With the refurbs, now you have 2 queen beds in a studio as opposed to the pullout. You're walking distance to Disney Springs, and a lot of people forget that it's one of the 2 locations that have a census spot on site. It's only Saratoga or Grand Flow, so that's another good thing for Saratoga.
And right now, with the buses running at lower capacity, everybody is having a hard time getting into Disney Springs for their dinner desert or reservations. So any quick, access to that, Disney Springs is kind of a helpful thing.
Yeah, that would be really good. So Lori here is saying she's all about the lake view at Bay Lake Tower. You spend more points for a parking lot view, and you can go to the top of the world for fireworks. So that is very true because the way the layout is on the Lakeview rooms, you're on floor 15 and 16. So you could just go up to your villa and go out the top of your second floor, and you're right on the same level as top of the world. And that would be quite appealing to me as well, because my favorite place in the world to close is top of the world. I love to get kicked out of there at midnight.
Yep.
And to be able to just stumble down the hall would be awesome. Okay.
My sugar fix with that 7-layer cake. Oh my God.
There you go.
That's it.
And
do we know when they're going to reopen it?
there's nothing on the horizon.
Probably not until Happily Ever After or some sort of fireworks spectacular comes back.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah. I'd say when the fireworks come back, it'll draw the members up there, and they should be slammed because we're all like jonesing to go back up there for
right. Absolutely.
7-layer cake. Okay.
It's at the Wave right now. If any of you guys want 7-layered cake, it's not on the menu, but you can get it over at the Wave now.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you for that.
Oh, good to know. Andy Berry was saying my favorite 3-bedroom is the Grand Villa at Alani. It has an amazing walk-in closet with an ocean view, and be sure to check it out if you visit the resort. Aloha. And I'm going to be checking that out come June. I would have booked one this summer, but the owners sold them all out. Okay. They were like locked up tight at about the 10-month mark. Okay. So from the 10, 8, 9, 7. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
In the last week of June, right when everybody's out of school and the point charts are reasonable, because they go, if you think they're bad now, they get insane come, the first week of July. Like July there is the same price as Christmas, if that gives you an idea of it. So
well, Andy's going to have to find me a lot more cheap points if I'm going there.
Andy, mission accepted, buddy. So I'm sure he could do it. And okay, Amy was saying I would agree. We toured Kidani and it didn't feel that spacious. So I'm glad I have a vote there. And then James says, so the ultimate question then, Kidani or Jumbo House for the 3-bedroom. After having stayed in Kidani, I am Team Jumbo 100% on the Grand Villas. Not only do you get the pool table, you get 3 amazingly huge balconies out there. The only thing I can see about Jumbo House is there's 6 Grand Villas and 4 out of 6 of them have meh Savannah views, in my opinion. So that's how that would kind of shake out there. But Andy was saying that Saratoga Springs is the best workout facility on property.
That is true.
So,
second to Kidani Village, first Saratoga, then Kidani. Awesome for Run Disney weekends to get a workout the day before a race.
I'm like Alicia. The only workout I get is, let's get some margaritas.
I was like, does the workout include the walk to Disney Springs?
Yeah,
And
there you go.
cab
Yes.
ride back?
there we go.
Yes.
And Lauren says, I just looked at the 3D map on my DVC points, and the Copper Creek 3-bedroom is spectacular. And my jaw dropped when I saw that master bath. That is an incredible master bath.
I like all of their bathrooms at Copper
Yeah.
Creek.
Yeah.
They're fun.
And Andy is saying that he's only a phone call away. So,
Phone call, text, email, WeChat.
I want to be in the line next to Alicia for Chilani points.
With our contract.
there you go. There you go. So, if you could only stay in one grand villa or one standalone unit and you could never book the others, what would it be? What's the ultimate grand villa prize here? What would be like the one that you could, if you could only stay in one and you had to give up all of the rest, where would that be? Alicia, what do you got for me?
Mine's easy. It's my Copper Creek cabin. It's
Yeah, I
easy
knew
to
that one.
clean. It wasn't enormous. I could live there and be 175 years old and still be happy, waving at all the little people going by on the boats and saying, have a magical day. Like, that'll be me. Like that.
Okay. Jake, what are you thinking?
So if we're throwing point value out the window, I'm going to hand it over to Grand Floridian. It's my favorite resort on property. I think the 3 bedrooms are just like the ultimate luxury of DVC. They are pricey. That's why I didn't put it as the best Grand Villa. But if we're throwing price out the window, Grand Floridian for the win.
Okay. Andrew, you going back to the cabins?
If it's going to be a standalone, it's always going to be the cabins. If it's going to be a Grand Villa, we would never been there, but we would definitely do the Copper Creek Grand Villa every time. Cabins in Copper Creek Grand Villa.
I figured you would have said Alani.
Well, yeah. I haven't taken a look at those. Need to look at those. We've done a 2-bedroom.
What are you thinking here?
14 nights. It was great.
Me?
Yeah.
You know what? If we're going to stay in Florida, we're going to go with the bungalows. Though we love the Grand Villas, the Bay Lake Towers Grand Villas, and the floor plans are fantastic there, we think. We got to go with the bungalows. Alicia said something that you can also do from the bungalow is this way. We spoke to people. One of the times that what we said like at the bungalows was like on jet skis. They stopped, we chatted, It's just such a different vibe. You're on vacation. You're in a Bora Bora almost, So it's just, and you have your waiting pool. You have so much like in the bungalow. So we would have to say the bungalow. But we love the Bay Lake Tower floor plan, the bungalow. But you said something, Chad, that makes the bungalow is 8 people, but it really is for 6 people.
I've heard that as well. I've heard that multiple times.
Because 2 of the beds actually are the pull down beds that look like drawers.
Yeah, the Murphy beds.
Right. An adult cannot lay down.
Yeah, cabin's got one of those too.
So yes, so for the bungalows.
Okay, bungalows. Kimberly, what's your ultimate grand prize here?
I think that's a hard thing to make up because I love the Grand Floridian. And if I could stay there and not worry about the points, it is amazing. You have Citricos, you have Narcosis, you have So many great restaurants. You have Basin. You can get your soaps with the little Mickey Mouses in them. 1900 Fair for the buffet. I mean, it's so many good restaurants there, and the atmosphere is beautiful, and the lobby is beautiful. But I do love Copper Creek Cabins, and if I couldn't leave the room or the surrounding area, I would
There you
have to go.
go.
Copper Creek.
I think I'm going to end up having to go like pre-grandkids. Okay. So pre-grandkids, pre anything else. Okay. No, like, son-in-laws, daughter-in-laws, that kind of a deal, right? If it's us, I'm 100% Copper Creek Cabins. Okay. All the way. My wife was like, why didn't we buy more points here? And I'm like, because you wouldn't let me. Okay. Why didn't you fix me? Like, and I'm going, okay, I'm sorry. Like, but we've got a review show coming up on the cabins here in season 5. That's already in the works. We're going to try to be bringing Andrew back in for that one, and maybe Alicia. And so we'll be hitting the cabins up really, really, really good then. And so that'll be the cabin show. And if I got it like grandkids and I could actually fill the room with people who are going to commit to be there, because that's been my issue with trying to get beyond us, is people are wishy-washy if they're going to come with you. And they don't understand, look, I've got points on the line and I've got a book and I
Gotta commit.
I can't change this easily if you're going to come back in, because all the other good stuff will be gone and all my points will be tied up in this. So if I had to pick one of the 3 grand villas, I'm probably going to go Copper Creek. Okay. Or cheat and go over to beach, the beach villas. Okay. The beach cottages. Cause those things just look absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and I know as soon as I go there, I'm going to want to own there, cause I see so many people that add on to Vero Beach after coming back in and getting the beach cottages. Cause those are only 6 of them and the owners book them up at the 11-month mark. It's really hard to find availability there.
Yeah,
And I can feel like how people, because how we do like a split stay, I'd say we stay half of our vacation time at Disney and then the other half in Sarasota. It would be the same exact half your time at Disney and the other half at the beach at Vero. Like it makes the most sense. It's only an hour and a half away. It's not far, and it would give you that whole beach feel. It makes make sense.
Yeah. And so a couple of other comments here. So Disney Blog gave a shout out to Gurgling Suitcase over at Old Key West. And I haven't really had a chance to enjoy them too much, but they're on my list to go back in and see. And then Scott was saying bungalows for the win. Just 2 words. Dole Whip. Okay. I think Dole Whip plus Twilight Feast, Scott, you would have had me with that one. Okay. I forgot about the Twilight Feast there, right? And Lori is saying bungalows for her for the hubby Copper Creek. And Bruce just keeps adding on to this. You forgot Tonga Toast. Oh man, you guys are gonna have me change my vote here before you know it. But Bruce says his ultimate would be Bay Lake Tower. The higher floors would give incredible views.
Yes.
Yes.
They do. They do. And 4 balconies.
Yes.
That's true as well. 4
And they're
balconies.
large balconies. They're not skinny like the ones at the Poly. They're big.
Yes, which is amazing view to see the fireworks. I know that you can go to the top of the world, but I've got to tell you, when you have people that have been at the park all day and they just want to be in their PJs and they just say, you know what, I'm just lounging on the balcony to watch this spectacular view and the music gets piped in. Yep.
It's a usable space, it's big enough balcony.
It's
That's
a different
nice.
experience from having your own and top of the world lounge. It's just a different atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah,
And the
I can
kitchen
see
is
that happening.
huge. The kitchen is huge.
You had me at Space, you had me at Grandeur, you had me at all that as well. So not enough points, not enough bucket list, not enough time off from work. So yeah, it's a time off from work thing now. So anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you get a chance to, could you please, and you're listening to the podcast edition of this, could you please drop us a review on iTunes? This Community Hall podcast launched about 6 months ago, and it's kind of shy on the iTunes review. So if we could get some great iTunes reviews going there, I'd be greatly appreciative. And I want to thank Alicia, Jake, Andrew, and Cecilia and Kimberly for joining us today. We will be back next week to talk about what we're most looking forward to in 2021. So with that being said and done, I want to wish everybody a good night, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Good night, everybody.
Right.
Good night, folks.
Bye.